Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And no shots this week. That's good. That's good for my sanity, my popularity among all my friends, because I lost a lot of, everyone knew I couldn't take shots anyway, so it didn't really matter. Guys, hopefully we have a bet this week that we can, I can make you take shots. I know you had to take a shot, but it wasn't on the pod.
Yeah.
Because you lost.
I lost Derek Carr 3 touchdowns.
Derek Carr getting 3 touchdowns. You lost. I love that. 3 shots for Derek Carr.
Seems like the favorite person to win the bet has lost twice now.
Yeah.
But, hey.
I don't know, man. Robbie Anderson's balling.
He's good. He's the dude. He's the dude now.
All right, guys. Welcome back to Between the Pylons. We have a great show. Unfortunately, we have to talk about some injuries this week.
A lot.
We're going to be talking about how that's going to affect each team, some of the major injuries, kind of keeping it fantasy relevant for the most part. There's a lot of big injuries on defense that I didn't put in there just because, we don't really have a strong, knowledge of the backup safety for the Colts or something like that. Like at least I don't. So we're not going to talk about stuff we don't know about. But yeah, we're gonna get to all the major injuries. We're gonna get to some of the 0-2 teams. Have a fun little conversation with the 0-2 teams and which one will make the playoffs. And then we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the Vikings, a team that we were both pretty high on coming into the season. They're 0-2.
Self-evaluation.
Yeah, it's time for some self-eval. And then we're going to close it out with our picks of the week. And we did great last week.
Yeah.
We did. Granted, you did better than me. We disagreed on only 2 picks. You got both of those right, meaning you went, 14-2 in game picks. I went 12-4. I went 12-4, which
Still
I'm not
great.
mad about. I did beat you against the spread. I went 9-7 against the spread. You went 8-8 against the spread. But the thing we really care about, because the spread, if you bet on every single game in the spread, you're not going to win most weeks.
Yeah.
But we're pretty proud of our locks. Regardless, we went 3-2, right? We had 5 locks. But the 2 we lost on, I'm not mad about. The Dolphins kind of got a late touchdown against the Bills to cover that spread. That is what it is. And
but we got the pick. We got every single pick on our locks.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we did.
We just
missed just missed the spread, which is really what those locks are.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was kind of a weird Chiefs game where the Chiefs, we had the Chiefs winning by 9 points and they didn't. But that is what it is. We're still pretty proud of ourselves this week, and now that we have more data, we're just going to be better this week. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about CJ Uzomah. I don't know.
We called him Uzi in Auburn. Uzi.
Tears his ACL, which is unfortunate. This is a tight end for the Bengals, and usually we wouldn't talk about him. But between the tight end targets on Thursday night last week, first game of week 2, 15 targets to the tight end between CJ and Drew Sample, who was CJ's backup, who came into the game. So
Burrow's done a really good job spreading the ball out. Utilizing the tight end position.
Targets the tight end a lot. I think that is valuable to know. Drew Sample comes in, gets 9 targets off the bench, 7 receptions, 45 yards. That's pretty good. That's interesting to know for fantasy owners and people that are looking for tight ends, especially. This is a guy who should be on your roster. And I think, if you're in like a tight end premium league or something like that, this is a guy who's going to go for a lot of fab because, you just can't avoid something like that. That's a dude who's going to get targets and, specifically tight end premium leagues. So that's just interesting. No, unfortunate, CJ tears his ACL, so he's done for the season.
This week, man, was the most detrimental week we have seen ever. And I don't know what rhyme or reason it is. I've seen a lot of people say that with no preseason, your body, sometimes your ligaments and stuff, you're not as stretched out, you're not as loose, and then when you get to that full gear without getting warmed up, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, and really I actually put a tweet out there, which, I guess I wish I wouldn't have, because, I brought about bad luck, but, I said something along the lines of there were a lot less ACL tears, and I was hypothesizing that it was because of the lack of intensity to start training camp, right?
So their body is not as stressed.
Yeah, so it wasn't as stressed. So, it's exactly what the Ravens have done for the past couple of years, and the Ravens are famous for not having a whole lot of ACL tears or ligament tears, and because they bring their players along slower, and their regimen just works out better for them, allows you to get into that full gear, and then When you do make those cuts, your body's more prepared for it, and the ACL doesn't give out on you. I look, maybe that is it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's that. You're definitely wrong, or the people that are saying that are definitely wrong, because I know you're not saying that. But I think it's just bad luck. I think it's just a fluky week.
It happens. Yeah. Let's hope that it doesn't continue. I mean,
of course you hope it doesn't continue. But it's one of those things, like 7 ACL tears in one weekend. That is awful. That is incredibly high number.
Some of the stars of the game, too.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but like, you look at, we're going to get to all these guys, but you look at Cortland Sutton. It was kind of a weird fluky injury. It wasn't just like, he just got tackled at the knees, and it went the wrong way.
Said he went out of the game for tightness.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even seem like it was that bad.
Yeah, and it was, and that's a weird one. Actually, see, Cortland Sutton has a lot wrong with his knee. His knee got tore up.
ACL, MCL.
Yeah, ACL, MCL, and I think there's something in his bone or something, a bone bruise or something like that. Very, very unfortunate there. You look at Saquon Barkley, he was getting past a tackler, make somebody miss, and then just gets tackled up high. And just too much pressure on that plant foot, and it gives out. That's just bad luck. I don't think there's any situation where you're gonna fix that. That's just bad luck, I feel like. But we'll get through it. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Christian McCaffrey is going to be out multiple weeks with a right ankle injury. 4 to 6,
I believe. It's huge. So go target Mike Davis. It's going to be a huge name to get right now.
Yeah, and another guy, if you're just absolutely hurting, you don't get Mike Davis. I'm not saying you should get him in this round, but say you don't get any of the top guys in free agency, you're looking at Friday, you have an open spot or something. Alex Arma is a guy to have just for a week. I'm not saying he's going to be anything. It's a very, very low percentage shot in the dark, but he split carries with Mike Davis when Christian McCaffrey went out. Mike Davis obviously got all the pass catching work, which obviously more valuable. Alex Arma really didn't get a whole lot of work in general. I didn't really watch the end of that game because it was kind of over, so I'm not exactly sure. That could have just been game script. You just don't know. Obviously, they were down, so Mike Davis might have just been the guy they trusted in passing downs. I'm not saying that's going to be anything. We don't know what to expect with Christian McCaffrey out, but he's definitely he's a name that should be on the radar if they decide to split carries, or if Mike Davis isn't the guy, or whatever ends up happening.
Yeah.
Next guy, I'll let you take this one because I know this hurt both of us. So.
Cortland Sutton, it is someone that John was very high on. I was high on. I mean, that was John's wide receiver too.
Three or four. No, I think it was 3 or 4. I don't remember. He was high.
Regardless, he was really high. We both thought that this was going to be a true breakout year to where he cements himself in like the top 5 wide receivers out there, just because he's such a big body, so talented. And then it went from the AC joint. It was like, okay, well, that'll be lingering for a little while. He'll be good to go, right?
Yeah.
Goes out there, gets some catches this week, and then he just lands funny, tackled low, boom, knees busted. He's out for the year.
Yeah. Done.
So now we are going to need someone for Denver to step up, because it's a team that had a lot of promise. Yeah. I think both of us were really high on them.
We were really excited about them.
I mean, we'll go ahead and tie in Drew Lock with that too. Drew Lock is out for a few weeks now, so you have to go transition from Drew Lock to Jeff Driscoll, and I know they just brought in Blake Bortles too.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there.
That's just a backup situation.
Someone's got to step up in the wide receiver game, and I don't know what their season outlook is now.
Yeah. So you look at the receivers, right? There's 4 guys to know, and granted, we kind of know the first 2 names for sure. Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, the first and second round pick of this past draft, they got the majority of the snap share. They got 57% snap share to Jerry Jeudy, 62% snap share to KJ Hamler this week. Both had 7 targets. Those are the first 2 receivers you look to make a play. Tim Patrick and Deshaun Hamilton, they've been there for a couple years now. Tim Patrick definitely had more snaps. That could be because Tim Patrick is really before Cortland Sutton went down, he's technically the 5 on that team, and it would make sense that Jeff Driscoll is more used to throwing to Tim Patrick. They have more of a connection, so that might have been why he got in there more.
Yeah,
but it stands to reason that could continue. He had 5 targets, 2 receptions, 65% snap share, so he was in there a good bit. And then Deshaun Hamilton, just under 50% at 44% snap share, 3 targets, only 1 reception for 5 yards. So not a huge name. No, I can't imagine Tim Patrick or Deshaun Hamilton is really worth owning in fantasy. KJ Hamler is a name you should probably look into, see if he's available.
Yeah, I'm trying to get KJ Hamler, but I'm looking at it from the quarterback aspect of things. I just don't see Denver being able to compete anymore with that division. Yeah. It's really tough. I mean, the Raiders are 2-0 now. The Chiefs 2-0 have some close games, but we know they're the Super Bowl champs for a reason. We know what they're coming with. I think they're going to get swallowed up And by the time that they get Drew Lock back, man, it's have fun in recovery mode.
It's unfortunate for this season. It feels like, we're 2 games in, so it sucks to say that it's already lost, but yeah, it feels like you're in a bad spot. Yeah.
Jeff Driscoll is no Drew Lock, and I'm not saying Drew Lock is that good either. Yeah. But that's how far down of a step we're going.
Yeah, but look, Jeff Driscoll, he's the guy who stepped in for Matthew Stafford last year with the Lions, so he has some game experience. Not completely, cold off the bench, never played kind of guy. Played well at times. Obviously, wasn't able to get a lot of wins for the Lions down the stretch, but played well. As far as for fantasy purposes, we'll kind of go back to that because you're right. I don't think anybody's going to really disagree that Denver's season is in a really bad spot this year. Yeah. But for fantasy, Jeff Driscoll was able to keep Kenny Golladay as a valuable fantasy option, right? Marvin Jones went down a good bit, so Marvin Jones wasn't. So I would think you're not just completely avoiding this wide receiver room. It's not to that level. I don't think. I think Jerry Jeudy and also to your point, they're gonna have to throw the ball because they're probably gonna be down a bit, especially with the teams they have to play in this division. And I think they have the Steelers this week, or no, they played the Steelers last week. I don't remember who they play this week, but they have a tough road ahead. I really think, look, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, they're guys to know. You look at their running back,
Philip Lindsay being out.
Well, Philip Lindsay's being out, but actually that if you're a Josh Gordon owner, Melvin Gordon, thank you. Melvin Gordon had all the carries. He had all but 3 carries this week. Or from the running back position. So Melvin Gordon is a workhorse back with Philip Lindsay out. If you have Melvin Gordon, he's a must start type of guy. Not a ton of efficiency, but he's going to have that 15 to 20 carries.
He has the workhorse type body. I mean, he can handle that wear and tear. And with Jeff Driscoll, Blake Bortles, whoever the hell is going to be trying to do,
it'll be Driscoll. It'll be Driscoll. Driscoll's better than Blake Bortles.
I think Blake Bortles actually has a chance. I really do.
I disagree. Yeah,
Jeff Driscoll is not good.
Jeff Driscoll played well down the stretch, man. They almost won that game.
Jeff Driscoll is not good.
We disagree on that.
You're going to sit here and say that Jeff Driscoll is a name
compared to Blake Bortles, yes. Compared to Blake Bortles.
Completely disagree. We couldn't be far on opposite planets on this
Jeff Driscoll.
Jeff Driscoll last year, what did he do for the Lions?
He was on a bad team in a bad situation.
He's on a bad team in a bad situation right now.
I'm not saying he's going to play. Look, let's frame this conversation first so we don't get this out of hand.
Yeah.
I'm saying compared to Blake Bortles in the situation they're in right now. I'm not saying Jeff Driscoll's good compared to anybody else, but compared to Blake Bortles, he is the better option.
I think it's pretty linear. I don't think there's any way that you can look and be like, oh, he's better than him, or he's better than him.
Oh, I can easily say Jeff Driscoll's better than Blake Bortles.
So that is a huge discredit to Blake, then.
Oh yeah, I think Blake Bortles isn't, and also Blake Bortles coming off the street. Like there's no connection. There's no connection. There's no connection to this offense, so it's not like Blake Bortles is coming in here, kind of knows the offense. Like he's been like, no, I don't. At least I can't think of any connection. Yeah, there's not one. There's not a connection to this offense. This is Jeff Driscoll's going to have this job. Blake Bortles is a backup play because they probably didn't like whoever they had in camp or whatever. But this is a truly a backup play. I don't think Blake Bortles is going to factor in this conversation
because he's used to the system. But I am just saying that Jeff Driscoll is not going to win you games. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and
I don't even think he can play serviceable football. I genuinely don't.
We saw him play serviceable football on Sunday, man.
They lost.
Yeah, they lost, but they lost to the Steelers, who are a good football team, 26-21, and they had a chance to win that game down the stretch.
I agree to disagree.
They were down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. Jeff Driscoll goes down, scores a touchdown, and then gets the ball back. And look, he didn't get it done, but he is in a position to win the game at the end.
I will let you die on the Jeff Driscoll hill.
It's not a hill. It's a molehill. It's not a hill. I'm just saying Jeff Driscoll. He's a serviceable backup in this league. I'll put it that way. Fair enough.
He's now a starter though. So now we have to go forth with that same knowledge.
But a serviceable backup means that he can come in and start and at least be a serviceable starter or not completely fall off the wagon.
96% of people didn't know who Jeff Driscoll was.
I mean, in general, yeah, okay, probably. I don't know.
I don't even think you knew he was the backup.
I knew he was the backup because I knew he played 8 games last year
for the Lions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for Denver.
No, but he played but he has game experience. He played okay. He actually had some flashy moments at times for the Lions. He did. There was I can't remember the game, but it was
flashing moments from Jeff Driscoll. You're getting ahead. I don't want you to talk up Jeff Driscoll.
Okay, fair enough. Good. I don't want to either.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why we will just kill it at that. Blake Bortles, Jeff Driscoll, you're both bums. There.
God, look, Jeff Driscoll's going to be a backup in the league for the next 5 to 7 years. He's a solid backup. All right, we'll move on.
You kill me, man.
He's a solid backup.
You kill me.
How am I crazy?
You kill me.
I don't. You're saying you didn't know who he was, and he sucks.
I know who he was.
Okay, so if
he went to Florida, he was never anything there either.
Okay,
he got cut from the Bengals practice squad. He was never anything there.
Okay, fair enough. Look, I could be wrong.
I don't like Driscoll.
Right. You're right. I'm not gonna die on this hill. I could be wrong. Whatever. We'll move on. Cam Akers.
Watch him come out and throw for 300. We'll leave it at that.
Hey, if he does, I'm.
Let's make that our prop bet. There we go. That's our shot bet.
Look, if you hate him so much,
not 300. Not 3. I'll give you 185.
You'll give me 185. I don't care who he plays. Give me 185.
Deal.
Guaranteed. Where are they at? Denver. We have the games up right now. I'm looking for him. I don't see him.
Why don't we see him? Bucks
Broncos. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a tough matchup. He'll throw for 185 though.
You get the over.
They'll be losing late. Yeah.
That's fine.
He'll get 225.
Like I said, that's 185. That's a fair line.
Fair enough. All right.
That's where we're putting our shot bet. Shot bet. That's
three shot bet.
That's our 3 shot bet.
All right, good. I'm glad we turned this argument into something fun. All right. Fucking hey, we bet on fucking Robbie Anderson.
And like, Jeff Driscoll.
Can we get more obscure than Robbie Anderson? Jeff Driscoll bet.
Did.
All right, Cam Akers rib injury, rib cartilage issue. This is unfortunate just because obviously he was in a 3-headed monster race. Had I think 4% of snap share, so this injury came up pretty early. According to Pro Football Doc, this is not an injury that's going to linger or be a problem unless there's some medical complication. Shouldn't be an issue. Shouldn't miss a whole lot of game time because of it. It is worth noting through 2 weeks. Granted, we only really have week 1. Based on how he looked week 1, and based on how Malcolm Butler has looked for the past 2 weeks, and based on how Darrell Henderson looked in week 2. Cam Akers is the 3rd best running back on that team.
And you can't really touch either of them in fantasy because
they're tough
so
to touch.
I have all 3 in one league, and it was like, okay, start Cam week 1. Dang, Malcolm Brown balled out. Okay, start Malcolm Brown week 2. Darrell Henderson balled out. So it's just one of those things where we don't know where it's going to go. Sean McVay doesn't know where it's going to go. They feed the hot hand. They run by the game script, and it ends how it ends. It sucks that Cam Akers is out, though, because he was really promising, and I was hoping that he was going to become like the Todd Gurley type workhorse, but they're fine with the running back by committee.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, so we'll move. Yeah, I completely agree with you. You know, you avoid this unless you're in like a.
I'm just telling y'all that because that's what I'm doing is avoiding it.
Oh, I completely.
I mean, there's no way that I can tell you who's going to do better or worse.
I don't think you can. Darrell Henderson looked good. Malcolm Brown looked fine. That's just a tough one, and that might just be a bad running back room to own all year. Jimmy G, we're gonna talk about the 49ers a little bit, mainly just a couple of the main stars because they had a lot of injuries. Man, Mostert goes down with an MCL injury. You have Tevin Coleman, Solomon Thomas on the defensive line. You have Nick Bosa with an ACL tear. You have Tevin Coleman, their other running back, has a knee issue. Not sure exactly what that is yet. And then Jimmy G has a high ankle sprain. Good news is apparently the high ankle sprain is minor and he can play through it. I rewatched the condensed version of the game last night, and it looked like he actually had that injury really early on, like in the first drive, I believe. He stayed out there for most of that game though. So it looked like he suffered the high ankle sprain, stayed out there, and then re-aggravated it, and they took him out after that. So I think it's one of those situations where he's going to be in pain, but he can probably play through it, assuming they can manage the pain. But man, where are we with the 49ers?
Hurt.
Yeah,
that's where we're at. I think it's one of those things. They are hurt so bad, they need to just chill. They need to get their guys good. And I know they can't get Solomon Thomas or Nick Bosa or Raheem Mostert. They lost those guys. No, not Mostert.
Tevin Coleman and Mostert.
There's guys that are just straight up banged up.
Yeah.
The 2 defensive linemen are out for the year. Yeah. And there's a chance Jimmy G could play against the Giants. But I mean, you have
a
rundown. Why?
Yeah.
You know, you have Mullins, and like I said, he's
serviceable backup.
He's a backup who can come in and run a game script. But I like Kyle Shanahan.
Which is what I would say.
No, you did not. You went overboard with Jeff Driscoll. You took it to the next level.
I took it too far. Fair enough.
You took it to the next level. Because Kyle Shanahan can take care of Nick Mullins, and with the weapons around him, I think he can run a game script against the Giants, not the Buccaneers.
Okay. I feel the same way about Jeff Driscoll as you feel about Mullins.
Crazy.
I do. They're fine backups. They're backups that have had game experience. It's not obviously an improvement. You're worried about your team when they're in the game, but it's not the end of the fucking world.
Okay, I'm coming back now. I'm tired of between the pylons backup quarterback talk. They are much worse without Jimmy G here. This is a game that you might actually circle with all the injuries as to where somehow the Giants, I know they lost Saquon, but if there's a game that's just a toss-up because injuries, you never know how this goes, there's a chance here.
Really? I was actually going to offer for the 49ers to be my lock of the week.
I think that's hard to do with the backup.
Yeah, okay. Then that's totally fair. At this point, that's a tough one. I do agree with you. Jerick McKinnon looks like a pretty nice play right now if the other two running backs are going to be out. He's the only healthy one they have right now. It's weird. They've had running back injury issues for years now. Another guy who we've talked about in the offseason, Hasty, Jermichael Hasty out of Baylor. He's going to get called up from the practice squad. He might have a chance to get some reps. We'll see what happens, man. The 49ers just decimated in a really, really tough division.
But don't play Jimmy G if it needs 2 weeks. Chill out, be good, because you have more important things to worry about than weeks 3 through 5. You have to worry about the playoffs and divisional rounds and stuff.
They are a good enough football team, regardless of these injuries, to handle a Giants team.
Yeah.
So they should be in a good spot. They should be able to look, and you're right. The 49ers could easily lose that game, but at the same time, you like to think that they're going into a situation where they can win this game. But moving on, one that killed me, like in my DFS, all my DFS lineups got crushed because I switch over to the Colts game and I see Paris Campbell on a cart getting taken out of the game. So unfortunate. He has an MCL tear. This is a dude who, and granted, throughout the week, if you watched my live stream with Hammercast, I was saying he was one of the only wide receivers that had such an obvious and clear plus matchup that I was just hammering it. So Paris Campbell gets the MCL tear against a great matchup and gets 0.7 yards or 0.7 points and crushed all my fantasy teams because of it. Very unfortunate though. Zach Pascal saw 81% snap share with Paris Campbell out. That was kind of interesting. A lot of people would have thought Michael Pittman Jr. would have come in and gotten more shares. I think Michael Pittman is more of an outside receiver, so it doesn't really fit what Paris Campbell is going to do. And Zach Pascal, has more of a body type that would fit that slot receiver role. So Zach Pascal, look, I'm not saying go out and just sign Zach Pascal. All I'm really saying is this might not be good for a Michael Pittman owner who's waiting for a breakout on the rookie. This injury specifically might not be the opportunity that he needs just because it's a totally different position.
Yeah, I mean, he got to see the field more in Michael Pittman, but he's not going to be used in the same way.
Yeah.
I think he got 2 more targets than he did 4 more targets, 2 more catches than he did week 1. So it didn't really amount to that big of a difference.
Yeah.
And I have Michael Pittman, so first thing I thought of was when you have depth go down in front of him, it's bump him up, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, the X's and Y's and the way that they line him up is just a little different than that.
Yeah.
So Pittman's technically behind a T.Y. Hilton position on that.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. No, I agree with that. We'll move on to, probably one of the more heartbreaking ones of the season, just because you're watching the Giants to watch Saquon Barkley. That's what you're watching the Giants for, unless you're a Giants fan.
Puts butts in seats.
Yeah, man, and man, he tears his ACL on like I said earlier, just a very unlucky play. That's all you can say about it. Dion Lewis comes in. He saw 88% snap share because of that injury. He's not going to be the workhorse back. It's going to be some combination of Devontae Freeman, who they just brought in, Wayne Gallman, who's been their backup since before Barkley was there, and then maybe Elijah Penny, who's on the roster right now. We don't know how much we'll see of him. I'm not excited about Dion Lewis. I'm not going to lie. In fantasy, are you?
No,
he gets a bump, obviously.
We can lay my fantasy team to rest, too, because I have Barkley in almost every single one that I could, just because he's so good, and I was slotted the number 2 pick so many times just by happenstance. Yeah, Dion Lewis. Barkley is able to do what he's able to do because he's Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Any other running back behind there is going to struggle, especially guys that are, we're talking backups here.
Yeah, and Dion Lewis,
Dion Lewis he has PPR low upside value solely because he's going to get looks, but not because of a skill-based set. Devontae Freeman is an exciting thing because that could be the one that if you're in a really deep league and you need a guy just you can get and see what he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. 3 years ago, Devontae Freeman was something.
I have a hard time trusting Devontae Freeman. I really do, especially about this line. And you look at Dion Lewis, just a serviceable backup. That's why I have
a problem starting any of them because Saquon got. Why are you laughing?
I called him a serviceable backup.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Saquon got 9 yards rushing behind, and that's Saquon. That is, physical peak Saquon.
Yeah, against the Steelers, you were a great defense, but
Big
9 yards rushing in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's horrendous. What do you expect these guys to be able to muster up?
Crazy. Yeah, crazy that Saquon ends this season with less than 40 yards rushing.
Do you think there's a way that he comes back sooner than that? I mean, he is a physical freak.
No, he's not coming back this season.
I don't think he should.
No,
at all. Why?
I don't think he physically. It's an 8-month injury, no matter what. I don't think there's any way he could.
If there's one person I don't doubt, though.
Yeah.
Well, 2 people: Adrian Peterson because he did it.
Yeah.
And Saquon.
So. Yeah. Well, did AP came back the next season though? Did he come back in season?
He came back the next season.
He just was
good to go.
He was a monster, and that was back when you didn't really see people perform from a ACL tear. Like now, ACL tear happens, they're usually pretty okay to come back and be a.
But there was a time when if you had an ACL tear, it was a career. Man, what a good career!
Yeah, it was a career ender for a lot of years. Yeah, so unfortunate. Last one we're going to talk about, not a huge one, but definitely affected the Chiefs. Sammy Watkins gets a concussion late in the Chargers game. Mecole Hardman saw 65% snap share. Like that was up from 29% last week, and he got a bump because of Sammy Watkins, but he was on the field a little bit more. Sammy Watkins going out. Look, he had a great week 1 for the second year in a row, but Sammy Watkins I don't think is a guy a lot of people are crying about in fantasy. It's still unfortunate for the Chiefs, but they definitely have weapons, and it's just a concussion, so it's not like a long-term thing.
Why aren't they utilizing Mecole? I mean, even week 1, looking at it, there was a lot of times where it's like, okay, I see him. Number 11, Demarcus Robinson. That's who. I mean, he's out there way more than Mecole is.
Yeah, he's gotten more snaps the past 2 weeks. Demarcus Robinson has. Look, I think it's because Mecole's young. I really, I'm not going to pretend to know. Watching last week, Mecole made a bad decision or a mistake, in a route where he was supposed to come back or something for Mahomes. You could kind of see Mahomes yelling at him, and that was just a very clear, you could see it on the telecast just because Mahomes was yelling at him that he made a mistake. I don't know how much his route running or decision making and option rounds and stuff like that.
He's a young guy. He doesn't have to be thrust into this.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't. I think they're just kind of moving him along. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if the second half of the season sees more Mecole plays, but at this point, he's kind of a gadget player that we'll see from here and there, but it's just not a guy that we can focus on. And I'm surprised too. I'll be honest. Like I don't really have a good reason why you wouldn't incorporate that kind of speed. But also Demarcus Robinson's fast too. Demarcus Robinson can't catch, but he's fast.
It was just disappointing because whenever Tyreek had that suspension and the looming, oh my gosh, the Chiefs may be separating from him. That's why they got Mecole.
They got Mecole because of that.
Was supposed to be that role, that type. Yep. So now to see him, go all the way down to he's kind of our 4 or 5 guy.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, very, very weird. But let's move on. We'll kind of get away from injuries, and I have one for you. I have an interesting conversation that I want to bring up. So since 2002. Just 14 of 133 teams have made the playoffs after starting 0-2. Okay? So that's about 11% of teams since that 2002 have made the playoffs after starting 0-2. And just by happenstance, if you look at the 11 teams, or there are 11 teams this year that are 0-2 after 2 weeks. So theoretically, logically speaking, statistically speaking, one of these teams will make the playoffs regardless of their 0-2 record. Which one will it be? And that is the question we're going to answer here today. The Panthers, Falcons, Vikings, Lions, Eagles, Giants, Broncos, Texans, Bengals, Jets, and Dolphins are all winless after 2 weeks. Who do you think, if you can only pick one, will go to the playoffs? You can use any kind of logic you want, where they're at in their division, talent, whatever you think.
I will piece it with 3 teams that I think have this opportunity.
Okay.
And one we're going to do the deep dive on later, and I'm not personally vested in this, but it is just too good of a team to... I definitely didn't see them going in the 0-2 route. It's my Minnesota Vikings. With Kirk Cousins' abysmal play, the offensive line hasn't been good. We are banged up all over the field. So 0-2, it's a rough schedule too.
Yeah.
Tennessee this week, and then I'm pretty sure we have to go to Chicago. That's ugly with them being 2-0 right now. We don't know how things are going to go. But this is a team, this is a system organization that prides themselves on winning and constantly winning and always being in the playoff hunt. I'm hoping they're able to somehow salvage this and get back, and maybe it just be a first 2 week, skid or something like that. We'll see. Next team for me, Eagles. If they can get healthy, if they can dedicate some time and maybe just somehow grind out, because it's an ugly division anyways. It always is with the Cowboys.
Cowboys have not taken lead, or they're not showing that they have the talent on the team that they obviously have.
I'm pretty sure everyone in there is. You have the 1-1 Washington's, the 1-1 Cowboys.
Giants are winless, and
then Eagles and Giants are winless. So it's still up for grabs. If you're able to get healthy, if you're able to get some defense back out there, and Carson Wentz can elevate his play, there's a chance there just because of the division. And my last one is the Texans. And I know a lot of people might disagree with me.
I was going Texans.
Deshaun Watson. I really think there's something to it. I think they have been doing better with some of the play calling. Their defense, it's not good. J.J. Watt played a great game, though. And it's just,
had 2 sacks.
It's some of the things where they've had some bad games. I mean, what do you expect them to do against the Ravens? And then week 1 was the Chiefs, right?
Yeah. They've had a tough road to start the season, have not looked good. But we, like you said, we still don't know if that's because they played the 2 best teams in the AFC. Look, Texans are. I'm a Dolphins fan,
so that's your team.
Yeah, I was gonna look, and I'm gonna touch on a couple other teams that I think could do it. But you make me pick one. I said, pick one. I'm picking the Texans. If you pick one, who are you picking? Go different.
Minnesota.
Taking Vikings. All right, cool. And we'll get into the Vikings a little bit more in a second just because we have a deep dive prepared for that. But for the Texans, right? And I look at the Texans as a team, like we said, played 2 tough, really tough games. I hope I'm wrong as a Dolphins fan. I want the Texans to go 0-16. I want that first pick. Dolphins get the first and second round pick. I want that pick, man. I want Trevor Lawrence in that first round. But that's probably not going to happen. Texans, they still have Deshaun Watson. They lost Will Fuller, but I mean they still have Brandon Cooks. There's still some talent on the receiver position. There's still some talent at the running back position. David Johnson doesn't look like he's completely lost it. I mean, he's definitely not the same player, but he's not.
He looks good.
He does look good, exactly. Offensive line's still bad, and the defense is terrible. So we're looking at a team that has to outscore you to win for the most part, right?
But Deshaun is capable.
Deshaun is capable of doing that on his good games against the teams that aren't as good as the Ravens and the Texans, right? So when the Texans face a team that are defensive six, like the Titans. And we're not going to talk about division rivals or anything. I'm just taking the Titans are a team that have a really good defense. They should be able to take care of the Texans. Just based on their defense, like they should be able to handle the Texans offense, and then the Titans, regardless of how good their offense is, which is actually better than it was last year, should be able to put up enough points to keep up with them. Teams like that are going to be fine. Colts should cover, should be fine. Honestly, look, the Jaguars are going to be in a shootout with the Texans, I think, twice this year.
You're painting a pretty bleak picture.
I am, but I'm sitting here, and I'm just kind of going through it in my head, but I'm really just kind of looking at it, I'm like, this is the team that, like, if the Texans beat the Colts and the Titans twice, we're not going to be completely shocked at this point because it's Deshaun Watson being Deshaun Watson. I feel that way about pretty much any game he plays moving forward. Deshaun Watson can take over games. He's good for 5 or 6 wins regardless of the team around him, right? And I would argue this is a 5 or 6 win team because they don't have a whole lot around them. But if they can get it going and figure it out and kind of win some...
That's all it takes is picking up 2 or 3 team wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Next thing you know, you're at 8.
Exactly. And this is, you get the extra playoff spots, so probably going to be more than just one team here that gets there. But yeah, no, I do agree. I'm going to take Texans. I 100% agree with you with what you're saying about the Eagles in this situation. I think they're probably the safest pick because you can paint a picture of...
They're just always in that with that division.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, they're just so many injuries. They don't look like they're as good this year, regardless of the injuries. I'm scared to pick them. I think Panthers and Falcons, they're kind of the same team in my opinion, in the sense that they're going to be all offense and no defense. They're really good offense, but Panthers obviously lose Christian McCaffrey. They're gonna lose some games because of that.
Yeah.
Falcons, I mean, I think it's just coaching. We can get into that Cowboys game, but man, like your coaches should prepare. Like
Falcons gonna Falcon.
It's your hands team. They should be prepared. They should know what the fuck the rule is in the NFL. Like they should absolutely, regardless of what the kick is, it's your hands team. You should tell your hands team if the ball is there, get the ball. Don't wait for it to pass the 10-yard line.
So I'm kind of surprised none of us took the Falcons because they are that separated. They are that separated from being 1-1, and they had I'm not going to say a good week 1, but they're able to put up points with the best of them out there. Because they played Seattle in a game where they got some garbage time, yes, but they can score. And
they can score.
they're one ball pickup away from being 1-1 against,
Yeah, I think the Falcons are the next one you look at. If you pick my top four, I think the three that you mentioned, and then probably the Falcons are the next team that I look at. Like, they could go on a run. Their offense could just catch fire. At the end of the day, I think they're kind of a division where the Saints can outscore them, the Bucs can outscore them, the Panthers can outscore them. Granted, the Panthers are on this list too, but those are
good games from the Panthers,
all coin flip games, right? And then like I don't know their entire schedule off the top of my head, but you look at the NFC in general, a lot of teams that can score points just in the NFL in general. So the Falcons are a matchup based team on the games I can think they can win, and that's not going to get them very far. So we'll just see what happens. You're right, the Falcons definitely have a chance. I don't think there's one AFC team other than Texans that have a chance, really. Broncos, Bengals, Jets, Dolphins.
No.
I mean, those are all bottom dwellers.
About to get married, yep.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not going to get any easier for any of those teams, really. I think the Jets are the number one pick this year.
And I'm really not sold on Sam Darnold.
I'm not. Yeah, look,
I've seen some really good plays, man.
I think in a better situation. Maybe it's different, but at this point,
is he gonna get that,
I haven't seen enough.
Because if they're a top 5 pick, they're gonna go quarterback. It's just
go younger, go better. Yeah, because at this point, Sam Darnold needs to get paid if he wants to stay. Or
do you want to re-up with the you don't know, or do you just want to go get?
Yeah, go get the guy who's you've been looking at in college for 3 years.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. It's definitely an interesting conversation. The Falcons or the Vikings are the next team I want to go to, and I know you want to talk about them. So let's just kind of switch over to our next segment. What is wrong with the Vikings? That is the name of this segment. We are teams. I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to kind of let you go away with it.
We'd have this segment.
I didn't either, man. So we came into this season really high on the Vikings. Obviously, you're a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
I just looked at the Vikings as a team that got better in the offseason, I thought, and we're going to be able to put it all together. Look, Justin Jefferson has not performed yet, but he's getting better every week. I feel like that those games are coming from Justin Jefferson. I believe that. I could be wrong, obviously. I did not expect this defensive line to be as bad as it is, and the cornerbacks. I really thought the Vikings knew what they were doing when they let go of their two starting corners. I thought they had guys behind them that they believed in. There were guys that were highly drafted, and they're not performing very well. This defense does not look good, and I'm gonna let you take it away from there.
Injuries is my main thing when you look at the defensive side of the ball. Danielle Hunter is a huge voice on that defense, captain of that defensive line, and because that is one of the things I can't expect Yannick, who played a good game too. He had a strip sack that got recovered by the Colts.
Yeah.
So he had some moments where he had that flash. You can't expect him to come in. I mean, we're only like a month removed from the trade, not even. So it's going to take some time for. I know the defense might be a little bit simpler for him on edge just to go, probably go get the quarterback on a lot of times. We lost Anthony Barr for the year. He's really good. Eric Kendricks is a centerpiece for the linebackers. Him and Anthony Barr, solid. Our safeties, but I really think it comes down to that defensive line. We got to get the pressure. You got to disrupt the quarterback, and that's what will help your cornerbacks, who our oldest one is 25 years old.
Yeah,
I think they're promising names. Week 1, I chalk it up to Aaron Rodgers knowing that he could have babysat these cornerbacks whenever he was in high school.
Yeah,
I mean he's just a guru when it comes to that. Offensively, looking at the Indianapolis game, I was pulling my hair out. Yeah. Predictable. Offensive line play didn't show up. Kirk Cousins was not. You knew what was happening.
Yeah.
As soon as he did the reach out to Dalvin and pulled it away, it was going to be a bootleg. He would throw it straight up, and it was Adam Thielen 90% of the time. It was very predictable. Field position played a huge part. The Colts had 3 punts down inside the 20-yard line, and we just couldn't get going. The Colts didn't play a great game either.
No, they didn't. I rewatched it last night, and I wasn't really impressed by the Colts.
I don't know what to think about either team. I am worried for the Vikings, and I have a weird twist where it's like, let's suck.
Yeah.
I think we have handed out some iffy contract extensions.
Yeah.
I think we have made a push, and I still think we are at that same caliber team. But part of me is thinking about it. Part of me. I'm just saying part of it.
I get it.
I don't want to sound like I'm jumping off my team. I love my team more than anything.
Yeah, you want to lose. Look, I'm a Dolphins fan. We just got our quarterback, and we're sitting here 0-2. And I'm like, man, it's not gonna be the worst thing if we go 14-2.
You're like, you know what? Let's lose again.
Yeah, look, if we lose a couple games to the Jets, get that number 1 pick, and we get which I don't think is gonna happen. I think the Dolphins are too good to go 14-2 or 2-14. Yeah, they're not too good to do that.
No.
2-14, but I definitely wouldn't piss me off too bad if we get the Clemson boy. I mean, I don't think any fan base is really thinking that. Even at this point in the season, we're like, man, we're clearly not good enough to compete.
I'd eat a fucking brick. If we had a chance to somehow land a top 5 pick, and then we were able to get Justin Fields.
Oh, you'd be fine with Justin Fields.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's something to where we're stretching out our pocketbook so much, and it just seems like it's falling apart right now. 31st ranked defense.
The thing is, the Vikings are in a situation where unless they get rid of their coach, I don't even think they'd go quarterback if they're a top 5 team.
No, exactly. You know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's going to go. He'll probably get Sean Wade. You know, at the cornerback out of Ohio State. He is a cornerback, bro. Cornerback all the time in the first round. That is what we do. So.
That's sad.
And we extended Zimmer in the GM, and I like Zimmer too. I think it's some growing pains we're going through.
Are we at the point? Look, and I'm going to go broad, and then I'm going to kind of get specific here, which is maybe the opposite way we should. But are we at the point with the Vikings with Zimmer where we're like, this is about the peak that we're going to get from the Vikings with Zimmer?
What do you mean by the peak?
I mean, like, we've seen some good seasons from the Vikings. We've seen some good play from the Vikings, but it does not feel like the offensive, first of all, the offensive side of the ball is not multiple enough, not creative enough to get it done in the playoffs. And the defensive side of the ball is not.
Yeah, well, I see what you're saying when you say Zimmer's mentality, the way that he builds teams.
Yeah.
We don't match it right now. We just really don't. You need to have a mean-ass, big offensive line so you can... We don't have that.
Yeah.
We've never had that. That's always been our problem.
Yeah.
We have the running back.
It's better, but it's not
It's
great.
gotten better. We have a serviceable quarterback who I think Kirk Cousins is going to improve. I will say that. He does better later on in the year.
Yeah. It is
we
worth
need the
noting.
Receivers to step up, though.
It is worth noting that we did have this a similar conversation, not this exact conversation, a similar conversation last year at this time, and the Vikings blew up. So it could absolutely happen. This could be 2 bad games, and they could jump off. And look,
can I read you the next 8 games?
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
Titans, Texans, Seahawks,
Oof.
Falcons,
Oof.
Packers.
God.
We get the Lions finally. We get the Lions.
Lions and Bears.
Then the Bears. Then we get the Cowboys. The Panthers, the Jaguars, that's whatever. The Buccaneers, the Bears, and the Saints.
Let's just talk about the next 3 games, because the next 3 games are going to be telling.
Yeah.
And I knew
Titans,
it was a tough...
Texans, Seahawks, 1 and 2. Off the top of my head, I think this is some team that the Titans may look over it. Not the Titans itself, but the fan base is being like, 0-2 Vikings will be good. Yeah. The Vikings have some fight in them.
Yeah,
and if the right team shows up, they can drop. I mean, they dropped 34 points against the Packers week 1. They can do it.
They can beat the Titans. And the Titans struggled against the Jaguars, which Jaguars might just be better than we thought they were going to be this year. The Titans, had some issues against the Broncos, but they were clearly the better team on the field. We don't know what the Titans are this year. I think we think they're better than they were last year, but they're not an 0-2 team that we're like just slamming.
A 2-0 team.
They're not a 2-0 team that we're just like slamming the door for. We're still nervous about what they're going to be. And you're right, the Vikings could absolutely win that game. They could lose to the Texans, but they could win it. I think that's kind of a coin flip game.
We have the Seahawks, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. We have these coin flip games to where it's like, okay, at best, we run this. We're 3-2.
Look, next 4 games.
We still got some grueling games coming on after that.
Yeah, next 4 games, and we saw the Packers crush you. So 5 games from now, you play the Packers.
Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about that because we just don't know any at this point. But the next month of football for you guys, I see 3 coin flips. If we're being generous, 3 coin flips. Maybe not generous, but 3 coin flips and a loss. For sure.
It's fair to say.
And the Falcons are that 4th.
Something has to change. I felt like we were too predictable.
So you get Gary Kubiak back, who. Look, we'll see what happens there. Not great, but like his offense has never been terrible. You get Mike Zimmer, whose defense has been. We know what their defense is at this point.
He's a good defensive coach. He really is.
He is. But we're getting the real thing, and kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. The real issue for the Vikings, the offense has been able to put up points. It hasn't been great. Last week was bad, but I think a lot of that was kind of situational things that just didn't get going. But I mean, it was able to put up points against the Packers. That defensive line gets no push, nothing, and that is a huge point of emphasis, and that's really my biggest concern. Because I think the receivers are going to figure it out. I think Kirk Cousins is going to figure it out. I think that offense is going to figure it out in general, right? Like I'm not worried about them long term. I think they're going to be okay. On the defensive side of the ball, I can't sit here and say I'm confident in that cornerback room moving forward, and that defensive line is getting nothing.
Safeties are the best in the league, and Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, they're all over the place. I still think Eric Kendricks is one of the most underrated linebackers, so he's serviceable. Michael Pierce opted out. We signed him over from Baltimore. He opted out because of COVID. That really hurt because we lost Linval Joseph to the Chargers. So there's the interior, the run stuffer that was just the big gap placement.
Yeah.
Danielle Hunter's on the IR.
Yeah.
And we have Yannick, who's, like I said, new to the system.
And look, Yannick is an awesome pass, a sacking,
Yeah.
He's a third down, pin your ears back type of guy, and he's awesome. He's, maybe top 10 in the league at doing that. But he's not like a run stuffer. Like he's not a guy he's not like a big strong dude who's just gonna like get push every single play. He's kind of more of a finesse and type of edge defensive end type of guy. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm worried about our team too. It's to the point where I was like, I did not see us.
It's compounded by the fact that y'all made the trade for Yannick. And we thought the same thing at the time, thinking that the Vikings were ready to go and they were one piece away. You don't make that trade unless you think you're one piece away.
And now we're 0-2.
You're 0-2.
And I think we're the only team out of this that has made that type of loud move to go trade and go get acquisitions to win it, and now we're not. So.
Yeah, we go back to the teams that were 0-2. Yeah, like the Eagles probably thought they were going to be in a better situation than they are right now, but injuries, you can pin that to injuries. Broncos probably thought they were going to be in a better situation.
Yeah.
Injuries.
They're washed.
Texans are a big one. I think that's just coaching. They should have fired Billy O'Brien a long time ago. That's on them. I think Falcons, to the same extent, is coaching. Like I don't care what you say, they shouldn't have ever been in the situation where onside kick was going to lose them the game there because they were up 17 points in the second half.
Yeah,
but you have a hands team for a reason, and that is at 100% coaching. If you are not putting the time in to make sure every single guy on your team that has any opportunity to ever be on your hands team to fucking pick up the football, that's all you had to do.
That's not even a time. That's you have a huddle before it's like, we know what's coming, guys. This is the hands team. Y'all are out here. Like, get the ball.
Like, it's one of those situations where, first of all, I would expect most NFL football players to know just instinctively whether or not they've never been on a hands team or whether or not they've been on the hands team or not, to know that you can touch the ball within the first 10 yards and the defense can't. Like, to know the rules of an onside kick. I would expect them to know. I know that if I was out there, I would know that. But I know for a fucking fact that if I'm coaching my hands team, if I'm a special teams coach or my head coach or whatever, you go through situational football, that's the first fucking thing you say. Maybe not the first thing, but it's definitely up there. Like that's all coaching.
In my head, opinion. Maybe they thought the ball was going to stop because it was a knuckleball. It was
weird.
There's a lot
that's an argument.
Whenever you're out there, it's scary because it's like, I don't want to touch it before and then muff it. I don't want them to have a 0% chance of ever getting it, and me touching it only gives a chance to drop. But like you said, Austin Hooper went on the Pat McAfee show and did a great job explaining it. They asked him about it, and it was not Austin Hooper. No, it was Austin Hooper. He was explaining.
Oh,
he was just
Austin
talking,
Hooper. Okay,
he was just elaborating how what you do in those scenarios.
Yeah.
And he said at about the 6-7 yard mark, your antenna's got to go off. I mean, it's like something in your head that's just like,
take that ball,
get the ball.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's just, look, I mean, that doesn't happen on a well-coached football team. It just doesn't. Like, I'm sorry. And look, I know the Cowboys won, and we're not going to question them because they got the win. But how many times did they put the ball on the ground?
4
or 5. I mean, look, that could just be a fluky thing that happens, and I'm not going to overemphasize it. But if you're not putting the emphasis on ball control,
we have drilled them if they were on this list.
Exactly,
we would have drilled them. Of course,
and look, and I'll still I'm not happy because the Falcons made a mistake. You're off scot-free. No, like, I'm sorry. This
hasn't been pretty.
It has not been pretty. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and take a victory lap for a take I had in the off season because we're not there yet. But I was not happy with the hiring of this coach, and through 2 weeks, I'm not happy with the hiring of this coach. I mean, like, this offense, this team should be fucking amazing. And maybe it's not the head coach, maybe it's the OC Moore, or whatever his name is. But whatever it is for the Cowboys, it needs to get fixed. Jerry Jones, you're in a push year. You have put together an amazing team. Go get a young offensive mind that can put together some plays and help your team win. Because right now I'm not seeing it. Like, I rewatched every single play from that game last night, and really, maybe watched more than I probably should have. And I'm just watching this offense, and I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as last year, and I shouldn't be shocked because Moore is still there. But I really thought that McCarthy would have brought some of his offense down, or would have brought in some new scheme or something. Like, he had a year off football to study and get better and grow as a coach and a play caller and a situational type of I don't know, man. It's just unfortunate.
Dak blew it up fantasy-wise, but I left that
garbage
game.
Points. I mean, it was.
That's what it was. I left that game thinking.
You weren't impressed with Dak.
How did he do that?
Dak wasn't impressive. I'm sorry, he wasn't. It's 2 weeks in a row.
He threw for 400 and had 4 rushing touchdowns, or 3, whatever it was.
It's 2 weeks in a row where I watched Dak and I've said, he's playing it safe. Like it truly, and look, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it wouldn't matter one way or the other, but it really feels like he has that contract in his head, and he says, if I put up a great statistical season, I'm gonna do fine. So he was playing it safe. He was not going for the deep ball. He was not risking anything. And you're down 17 points. You don't know how this game's going to end. You can't tell me that you know that you're going to be in a situation to get an onside kick that you absolutely should have never gotten. Like hell no. You should be going for it. You should be trying to win. You're in a situation where you need to get down the field fast, score. You need to stop, and you need to score again. Like that's where you're at, and he's just it was just it wasn't impressive.
In week 5, we're going to see the box score, and people will forget all about it, and that's kind of the point. They're going to see Dak threw for 400 and had how many touchdowns?
Exactly. It happens every year. Eli Manning was the master of it. The last 2-3 years in New York were terrible. But he'd have a fourth quarter where he put up, 150, 200 yards, a touchdown in garbage time, and make the score look a little bit closer. And everyone who goes back and looks at the season is like, threw for 4,000 yards. I don't see what the problem is.
He threw for 4,000, had 20. I mean, he had 12 picks, 28 touchdowns. That's not a bad.
That's not a bad season at all.
That's the type of stuff that we ended up finding with Dak along the way. Yes, they got the win. You want to see him make the next step, and I agree with you in thinking that the contract it does have something to do with the way that we're seeing stuff go down.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. And one more thing, just very minor to go back to the Vikings. Kirk Cousins not playing as bad as the stats show. I rewatched that game, and he didn't play great. I'm not going to sit here and praise him by any means.
It was a bad game.
It was a bad game, but like 3 picks is not telling. One of them was a Hail Mary at the end of the half that got picked. That just goes on his stat line forever, and nobody knows the circumstance. That doesn't count. There was another pick where it's like he was giving his receiver a chance to get the ball. It got picked. It was an unfortunate situation, but like he's down in the game. He's trying to win. So I didn't have a huge problem with 2 of his picks. The third.
When you're down in the game, you have to push the ball, and
I respect it. I respect it more than the fucking Dak. Oh, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm not gonna try and win this game. I'm just gonna try and not lose when you're already down 14. Like whatever. It is what it is. I'm getting ahead of myself. You want to go to picks?
Yeah.
All right. Let's finish the show out. I'm gonna let you start it off here. Where are we at? Let me find it. All right. I'm gonna let you start it off with Thursday night.
Well, we have the Pooper Bowl. We get to see the Dolphins and the Jaguars. Jaguars doing a little bit better than people expected. Jags are favored by 3 points, over under 48 points. We differ.
Yeah.
We differ actually.
Am I a homer?
I would say so.
We differ on.
We differ on everything that you can differ on.
Yeah, we're completely different on this.
I picked the Jags. John picked the Dolphins. I picked the Jags to win against the spread. John
to win by
Dolphins,
4 points.
Of course, because he has the Dolphins winning.
To cover 3 points.
Over, under.
Yeah.
There we go. I see a way that Fitzpatrick can keep y'all in this game. I mean, it wasn't that ugly against the Bills. Honestly, you may have been excited at times to see that game. I mean, Josh Allen threw for 403 touchdowns, and the Dolphins were still in that game.
Granted, it was a garbage time touchdown that put them in there, but look, they were competitive in the fourth quarter. That's all that matters. Bills were the better football team. They were able to put it away.
The Dolphins win?
Look, I think the Dolphins are a better football team. I really do. I think they're going to win in the trenches, which I think is obviously very important in football. Look, the Jags are a pain in the ass football team. I think this is going to be a fun game. These are 2 teams that this is what you should go do. You should go to Bovada. You should put some prop bets on this game. I love prop bets, by the way. I won a bunch of money on prop bets. Yeah. Put some prop bets on this game to make it interesting for you if you're not a fan, and watch this game because it is going to be fun. It is going to be Gardner Minshew airing it out. It's going to be Fitzpatrick doing everything he can to get a win. It's going to be some fun football.
Just because they're going to be out there, and it's like you said, the front office might have this little secret where it's like, hey, we hope we lose. But the guys are going out there and they're just going to play.
Yeah.
They're just going to be throwing the ball. It's going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree.
Jags win, though. I think Gardner's got it.
I know. I do think, I understand the argument, first of all. I think the Dolphins are going to win in the trenches. I think the Dolphins are going to be able to do enough schematically to keep up with the Jaguars' offense. Or, defensively, they'll be able to do enough schematically to keep Gardner Minshew guessing, force him to make a couple bad decisions. Because, look, against the Titans, it went down to the wire, and it was a close game. They ended up only losing by 3 points to the Titans, but there were a couple decisions that he made throughout that game that probably should have been picked, and it would have made the game not as close as it was at the end. Some drop picks and stuff like that by the Titans that made the game a little bit closer. I'm not saying he's the reason that he was also a lot of the reason they got down and scored 30 points against the Titans defense.
He can keep you in and out.
But I'm just saying you can force Gardner Minshew to make some mistakes. I think that's what's going to happen. So I'm taking a Dolphins team. Look, this might be a homer pick. I think we're better than the Jaguars at this point in the season. Jaguars have looked really good the past 2 weeks. Obviously got the win against the Colts. Dolphins have struggled against the Patriots and then against the Bills. Dolphins have had a tough road, and they've showed some grit against two teams that I think everyone knew was going to be a playoff football team. And we saw what the Patriots were against the Seahawks, taking them down to the wire. We know what the Bills are. We might not know exactly what the Bills are, but we know what the Bills' offense is, and it's pretty fucking good. So I'm proud of my Dolphins for how they've performed. Hasn't been pretty, hasn't been perfect. They've done well. I think they're coming in for a fight, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's a coin flip game. Taking the Dolphins to win, I'll absolutely take that spread as well. Even if I took the Jags, I'd probably take the points with the Dolphins, because I really do think this is a coin flip. It could go either way. But I will move on with the Bears going to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Falcons are favored by 3.5 in this game, and it is a 47.5 over under. We agree across the board on this, and I'm curious where you feel about this. I'm gonna let you go first. How do you feel?
It's different because these are two very different teams with the way they're built. Bears are the defensive team, the Falcons are the offensively built team. Mm-hmm. And typically in these games, it's the defensive team that wins it because it lets the mediocre offense get to go do their thing against a bad defense, and of course the defense can stop the Falcons every now and then. You never know, but I think the Falcons are due.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are gonna steamroll the Bears. I really do. I think this is gonna be a situation where, this is gonna be another game where Trubisky sneakily looks better than he probably is. Because look, the past 2 weeks, he's looked okay on just watching the TV copy. I haven't watched any film on him, so I don't know for sure. But he's looked okay. He hasn't looked great, and I think his stats are kind of boosting him up just a little bit. But like, this is a Falcons offense that is a very high-powered football team. They should have won last week. They put up a lot of points against the Seahawks. They're going to put up a lot of points against the Bears. I really don't care what defense they've played. I think there's just too many weapons to be able to block them all. And then you just look at Matt Ryan. He's a sharpshooter. I mean, he's really getting to that point where it's like, just drop him back, give him a field to survey, and he's going to find the right target. Might be down the field, might be Hayden Hurst in the flats, doesn't matter. I really hope this is the kind of game. Look, the Falcons are going to want to run the ball. I think they'll get away from it fast. I think Matt Ryan probably throws the ball 35, 40 times and is able to get a win by 10 to 12 points.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I was just piecing it. I was like playing the game in my head. It was like, there is a way that I could see the Bears getting this in a defensive.
Yeah. Do you really want to bet on the Falcons to cover 4? It's one of those things. Like the Bears, I don't know what the Bears are. That's a big problem for.
And as of now, they're 2-0.
Yeah, they're 2-0, but they beat the Giants in the Lions week 1. Yeah, they had to come back against the Lions. They beat the Giants. I don't know what the Bears are. This is a tough one. I feel good about the pick. I don't want to lock this though, right?
No,
you're in the same spot.
I want the Falcons to win. I think they will win, but. Don't touch the line.
Fair enough.
We'll move on to the Bengals and the Eagles. The Eagles are a 6.5-point favorite, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Honestly, that surprised me.
Shocked
over-under is set at 46.5, and it's different because I have the Bengals winning this game. I have the Bengals with the spread, and I also have the over on the points. I think the Bengals, with the way Burrow has been playing, is phenomenal. Yeah. Their offensive line is painful to watch. It really is because you can just see Burrow's like, God, I'm not at LSU anymore, man. Yeah,
that's the difference in this game.
Welcome to the NFL. Yeah, I get that.
I think, so you have the Bengals. Well, we actually disagree on this. So I have the Eagles winning this game. We agree on the spread. The 6.5 points is too much for the Eagles. I'm sorry.
The banged up Eagles. If this was the normal Eagles, I wouldn't even.
Yeah, that's fine. But what the Eagles are going into week 3, 7 points is too much. It just is. I understand the Bengals haven't played awesome. I get it. But they put up some points in week 2, and then they played the Chargers down to the wire. I mean, look, one field goal, a chip shot field goal it
should have been made by
a chip shot field goal. They go into overtime, maybe win that game, right? So we're not looking at the Bengals as just this dumpster fire team like they were last year. Joe Burrow looked amazing Thursday night.
Threw the ball 61 times.
Yeah, and look, he had a tough road. He had some rookie mistakes, but, I mean, he was a sharpshooter. He was getting the ball to his guys. He was doing everything he could to win. You can tell he's a gamer. You can tell he hates fucking losing.
He really does.
I mean, look, he was furious. You could see him steaming. It's one of those things where, like, I'm very excited to see the Joe Burrow story continue. I think this is a game where the Bengals could absolutely win this. I'm taking the Eagles to win because I think, like you said, that offensive line for the Bengals is terrible, and I think that's the difference in this game. But this is kind of a coin flip game to me. I feel pretty good about 6.5 points. Like I don't know. This is a game where I'll probably do a teaser bet on this. Like, I'll take the Bengals plus, you take 7 points on the teaser, you get 13.5 points. Yeah. Bengals keep it within 2 touchdowns, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't blame you at all for taking the Bengals to win.
They went on Joe Burrow's shoulders, and I know that's a hard thing to ask, and it's also kind of crazy to think that the Eagles could be starting out 0-3 based off of this game. I mean, some team here is going to be 0-3.
Yeah.
It's just one of the storylines where it's like Eagles are so beat up. If Burrow can throw for 350 again or something like that, they're in this game no matter which way it goes, win or loss. They're in it.
I agree. I absolutely agree. All right, so this next game, I actually feel maybe more confident than I should. Texans go to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Steelers are favored by 3.5 points, an over-under of 45. I have the Steelers winning this, beating them by 3.5, and I actually think this will be very similar to the last 2 games they played. Steelers have shown no sign of slowing down. I can't talk. The Steelers have shown no sign. Wow, I can't talk twice.
It's okay, it happens.
Sign of slowing down, and the Steelers, like I think they're a really good football team, and the Texans. Besides Deshaun Watson, there's nothing I'm excited about for this football team. Deshaun Watson alone might make this closer than it should be, but we've seen the Texans struggle against 2 good football teams the last 2 weeks. I think they face another really good one. I think the Steelers able to get out ahead. You play some good defense. Steelers have an awesome defense, just like the past 2 opponents the Texans have played. They had a tough fucking road. Those first 3 weeks are brutal, and the Steelers look better than I think we were thinking they were going to be week 1. They're going to win this game by a touchdown or more.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better. I agree with you on the Steelers. I have the Steelers pick, the Steelers spread, and the over. One of the things that impresses me the most, we knew their defense was good.
Yeah.
It's Big Ben. Big Ben's got it.
Looking great.
Big Ben was able to
make absolutely right on
this. He
this.
made some moves out of the pocket. There was one play in particular from last week's game. He was in the pocket, it broke down, steps forward, runs out to the right, and then
throws a dime to
Deontay Johnson.
Looked like on the left side of the end zone.
It looked like the most athletic thing we've ever seen. I mean, it's Big Ben.
Vintage Big Ben.
Yeah, that's what he can do.
Just stumbling around like this dude is so unathletic. How are all these other athletes not getting to him?
Yeah. To think in this day and age, where we at the peak, where the combine is everything. And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like Big Ben likes to go eat brats at halftime or something.
Right.
He's just like, I'm just here throwing the ball, man.
Oh, man.
It's fun to watch, though. I like Big Ben.
Is.
And James Conner had a really good game. So you add all of this to where I like the Steelers' offense more than I like Deshaun Watson on the Texans. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the Steelers' defense way more than I like
Way more.
They win.
Yeah. Are you good to make this a lock? I feel good about this.
Lock it.
All right. Locking this up. All right.
I feel like it's a lock that a lot of people might not touch, but
yeah, I feel confident in this, though. I'm sorry.
There's several different ways that this plays out, and I see the Steelers getting it no matter what. Low-scoring defensive grind out Steelers. I think the Steelers can keep up with Deshaun Watson anyways.
I do agree with you. Let's move on to another game
this is a very
we agree
hard
on.
one, too.
This is a tough one.
The Rams and the
Could've
Bills. We're
way.
really going to get to see which team is made of what.
Yep.
So the Bills are a 2.5-point favorite, so coin flip type of game. 47.5-point spread. And somehow we agree on the pick. I thought you would go the Rams. I went the Bills. I went the Bills with the spread just because spread's so minimal in this game. Mm-hmm. I have the under. I think we're going to get to see the defensive side of this game.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Look, so I do have the over. I do think it is the over. I look at the Steelers, I look at the Bills as a football team that they can win a lot of different ways. They can air it out and they can play that kind of football, but they can also, play small ball and grind out a win on the ground with Zach Moss and Singletary and play that type of football as well. Just in the same kind of vein as like what the Patriots have always been able to do. They can play in a multiple different type of ways. Saints are similar. I think the Bills are getting to that point where they can play football a bunch of different ways, and they have the defense to handle this Rams team. I think I say all that to say I get where you're coming from with the under. I see where you could get the under. I am going over. I do think the Rams have the offensive firepower to put up 21, 20, 23 points, and then the Bills are going to win this game. I do think the Bills win this game by 3 points. I think this is a coin flip game. I'm taking the Bills to win by 3, which covers the spread just barely. I think this is like a 23-27 type of game, 23-26. One of those weird ones. It does just barely hit the over 47.5. I don't feel confident in the over. I could easily see the under hitting though.
Well, I don't feel confident in the Bills pick necessarily. Yeah. I mean, there's a world very easily where the Rams.
They've beaten the Jets and the Dolphins. We haven't seen anything
exactly.
special.
One of the compliments that I will give though is to Josh Allen.
Yeah,
it is against lesser teams. We know that these are against the bottom feeders of the NFL right now, especially defensive wise.
Yeah,
Josh Allen has played phenomenal though.
He absolutely
his ability to extend the play, his ability to maneuver around, might be able to save him against Aaron Donald because it's going to be a force.
What is it with him just airmailing these throws on the run though? I saw it happen a couple times against the Dolphins.
It happened it
happened last week against the Jets. It was an obvious one in the end zone where he just threw it over the head.
There was one in particular
twice in the Dolphins
week,
twice.
It should have been a pick. I mean, there was one that he threw for no reason at all and he
5
just
yards over the dude's head. Yeah.
And it hit the Dolphins guy right in the hands, and it was just, I mean, I'm sure the Dolphins guy was like, why is the ball right here right now? I can't blame him for dropping it, honestly.
But other than that, he's been awesome.
He's been great.
One issue.
I think he is making the steps in the right direction, and if these lesser teams are hiding some of his deficiencies, it's still a good way to get him going. It's a good way to get the train moving, and once he starts, I mean, I know we saw that physical play where he started stiff-arming everyone on the Dolphins.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. I give it to the Bills, though.
I absolutely agree with you. We'll leave it. We're definitely not locked, but I mean, I feel good about that.
Yeah.
All right, 49ers go to the Giants. We actually already talked about this a little bit. The 49ers are favored by 4.5 points. I think this does hit the over of 41. We agree on this. I think we might agree to different.
We'll lock it.
You're good to lock it.
The more
that
I think about it, the more that I am okay with Kyle Shanahan and his running system. They're going to run the ball down the Giants' throat. And the Giants, despite the defensive line injuries, the Giants aren't going to be able to move the ball. They're just not. I mean, you lose Saquon. They're having problems finding Evan Ingram because he's too fast for a linebacker, too small for a safety. Mm-hmm. They're doubling him. They're saying, why not both? And they're putting both on him. So we just can't get free. There's nothing they can do.
I agree.
Right
I completely agree. Evan Ingram is your only weapon, and he's an awesome weapon, but if he's your only one...
Hey, don't diss Darius. Darius Slayton.
Okay, you're absolutely right. But I mean, there's not like somebody you're scared of on the outside.
Exactly.
Yeah. If he's your only one, you double him. It's fine.
Lock it.
I think the 49ers are going to win this game by 2 touchdowns. I don't care about I think this is only 4.5 because of the injuries, and I will take the advantage that yes, injuries are there. I don't care. Running back is not going to be a factor. The biggest factor is the defensive line injuries. But the running back, Jerick McKinnon, that they're going to bring somebody up from the practice squad that's fast and short and can do everything.
It's a mold that they can fill. Yeah,
exactly. So we're going to lock that. I feel good about that one. Let's move on to the Titans.
Titans, Vikings. We have mentioned it a little bit with we don't know what the Titans are in 2-0. They're a great team, mind you, but 2-0, we're not used to seeing the Titans make this step. My Vikings being 0-2. So I picked against them. We unanimously agree.
Yeah.
We have the Vikings are a 2.5-point underdog here. Titans winning, Titans spread, and the under at 47.5. We agree on.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So look, I do think the Titans win this game, and it's very unfortunate because Vikings going down to 0-3 would be a really tough one, which is why I really considered the Vikings got to put everything in the tank for this.
Yeah, I mean we got to win one, right?
Yeah, and the Vikings are going to be in a situation where they're like, fuck, if we don't win this game, we're 0-3, staring down the barrel of a Giants team or of a Green Bay team that could be 3-0. You're in a really tough spot for sitting there. I still think the Titans are a better football team, so I do too. I want the team that are better. That's just better. I mean,
Tannehill is playing out of his mind. The Titans are really showing this year that they are not just they are committed to running Derrick Henry, of course.
He's still getting 56.
Tannehill can show up and make his plays whenever he has to, and I think Derrick Henry might actually have that fantasy breakout game against the Vikings.
It's coming
because of the defensive line and the linebacker injuries.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense that would be a huge plus matchup for Derrick Henry. And look, it's coming. It absolutely is. The breakout from Derrick Henry is coming. He's gotten 56 attempts over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're running him.
Fantasy owners are nervous, and that's fine. Go trade for Derrick Henry now, because he's gonna have some breakouts against the Vikings for sure. I think this is your last week.
Seeing a 2-touchdown game come up is not going to be I mean, it's going to happen soon, I promise.
Yes,
it
absolutely.
Really is.
Absolutely agree. So we're good on that. Do we want to lock that? Do you feel good about that? Or do you probably don't want to touch your team?
I don't want to lock it against my team because like you said, Zimmer has to have some self-awareness. It's like, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Guys, rally. Guys, make it happen. It's at home. I know the fans aren't there, but maybe the Titans don't travel as well. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
There's a way the Vikings win, though.
Absolutely. Washington comes to Cleveland to play the Browns. Browns are favored by 7 points.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I didn't like that line. I took the Browns to win. I do think the Browns are a better football team. Washington, look, I do like their defensive line, and I think they're going to get after Baker. I think it's going to be kind of a low-scoring game, kind of a nasty game. But I think the Browns are going to win it in the end. But I think Washington covers. I think 7 points is too much for the Browns at this point. I'm not confident that the Browns can do that. I am definitely not confident that the downfield passing game this week is going to be there because Washington is going to have their ears pinned back and they're going to be ready to go against the pass. If the Browns are smart, they're going to run the ball. They're going to play time of possession type of football. And just pound the rock with Hunt and Chubb. I think this is a low scoring football game because Washington's not going to be able to put up a lot of points on offense. Low scoring football game. Washington covers 7. Maybe looks closer than it is kind of game. Browns win under.
Yeah, I got the Browns. I have the Browns covering, and I have the over. It's kind of a different tale of the tape for me. I think one of the things that the Browns did well against the Bengals was passing the ball. Baker looked great.
Yeah.
Halftime-ish.
No, he did. He absolutely
first half was amazing, and then he kind of really didn't. They didn't ask too much of him after that.
Yeah.
One of the reasons though that they were able to do that was through the running game.
Yeah.
Chubb and Hunt were balling, and then it was able to spread the ball. So yes, Washington's defensive line is more elite than the Bengals, of course. I still think they're going to be able to get it done. I don't see Washington being able to put up points. Scary Terry's going to have some trouble getting open. Denzel Ward is a lockdown corner right now, playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
He 13 targets from A.J. Green. He only caught 3.
Yeah.
He was locking him down, man. Defensive line, Myles Garrett's always due for something. It's going to happen. Yeah, I think the Browns take care of it.
Fair enough. We'll move on to the Raiders and the Patriots. Raiders got that big win on Monday night. That was awesome to see. Patriots obviously just barely, really tough game. Both
my favorite game of the week, though.
Yeah. Both were in really great, Sunday and Monday night games. I do think the Patriots win this. Patriots are favored by 6 points with a 47.5 over-under. I have the Patriots winning. Look, 6 points feels like a lot to me, and it could go either way as far as the spread is concerned. So I don't hate the 6 points. I said Raiders cover just because look, Raiders haven't said anything to me to prove that they're not going to be able to keep up with anybody at this point.
They're 2-0.
Yeah, they're 2-0, and look, this defense is going to be a whole nother animal than the last 2 defenses they faced. But they faced a good defense in the Saints last week, and Derek Carr showed that he has some grit and he can kind of come back from some adversity early. I'm excited to see what the Raiders have this year. I mean, this is another, like I said it last week, that it was going to be a good litmus test for the Raiders and the Saints. Raiders were up to the task, and this week, look, I have no reason to believe that they can't keep this game close.
So I learned a lot from both of these teams. Mm-hmm. The Raiders, it wasn't just the Josh Jacobs show. It really wasn't. I mean, he honestly got stuffed for the most part. He was able to have some serviceable runs where he showed his athleticism.
I think that was the big problem early in the game. And I'm sorry I kind of interrupted you. Yeah. But early the first half, they were trying to get Josh Jacobs going, and they couldn't, and they had to kind of step away from Josh Jacobs. At the end of the day, he still had over 80 yards. I mean, he did okay.
He had a good game. The touchdowns and stuff weren't there fantasy-wise. But Derek Carr, like you said, had some grit against a very good defense in the Saints.
Absolutely.
The Saints are a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yeah.
I think the Saints were hurting a lot more than they thought they would be with Michael Thomas and the absence there. Drew Brees just felt like he was looking for that guy.
There's no number 2 receiver there.
He didn't have it, man.
Yeah.
Yep, he really didn't have it. I was more excited for the Patriots. They really showed me, and in Cam Newton right here, that they are able to hang with the best of them. I really believe so.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that they're Super Bowl favorites or anything like that, but knowing I've never been more excited for a game, honestly. Whenever I saw them at the goal line, Cam led that comeback and was at the 2-yard line. And, of course, we all knew it was a Cam Power. I mean, that's just what he's for. I was so excited, though.
It's fun to watch.
I had so much fun watching that game.
Yeah.
And Patriots fans, you should be happy in knowing that Cam can throw the ball for 400 yards because that's something that old Cam really couldn't do that often.
Yeah, no, you're really absolutely right. Yeah.
I think the Patriots take care of this game. In this, I don't see them blowing out. I have the Raiders covering just because I think with the way that they are content with running slow, kind of grinding football with the read option up the middle and the outs and the underneath passing routes. I mean, Patriots don't really spread the ball that deep, so.
Yeah,
Patriots win.
I do agree with you. I think you summed it up really well. You hit the over, I hit the under. Look, we actually were talking about this before we got on it because it was like the last game. Yeah. We kind of both agreed 47.5 is a perfect
I was
number.
like, I see like 28-20, and you're like, well, that covers.
Yeah, that's
over it is.
You covered by half a point.
Yep, over it is.
Yeah, and I took the under. Who knows? It could easily hit over. I don't feel confident with that either way. I agree with you. I think we both agree on the way this could go. I'm not going to lock it because this could go a couple different ways. No. But we'll move on.
So happy for Cam, though.
Yeah,
man.
It was a great game. It was a lot of fun to watch. Panthers, Chargers. Chargers are favored by 7 points against the Panthers. This is another line where I just think it's off. I really do. I think this is a coin flip game. And the reason for this might sound weird. You tell me how stupid this sounds to you. But they're going to play Tyrod Taylor this week after watching I can't talk. After watching Justin Herbert go off against the Chiefs, excuse me. I really believe that that is going to be a demoralizing decision for this football team. They watched a Justin Herbert bring life to a football team and be a 58-yard field goal away from winning the game. And now you're going to put Tyrod Taylor in, who struggled against the Bengals. Look, Tyrod Taylor might be the better option right now, but you have a young quarterback who showed he has some talent, showed he had a lot of talent and some grit and can come in cold after being backup all week, not having any reps or anything like that. Literally found out at the coin flip that he was going to start that game and come out and put up 300 yards against a Chiefs defense and almost beat Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I think that's a stupid decision to sit him, and for that reason, I think it's going to be a demoralizing hit. Panthers are going to come out and win this game. And the other part of it is you go to the Panthers side of the ball. We don't know what the Panthers are going to look like without Christian McCaffrey, and that might actually help them. That might play into the Panthers' favor because whatever they're going to do, it's going to be different from anything we've seen before. Chargers don't know what to expect. That's an advantage Panthers. I'm taking the Panthers to win this game in a coin flip game. I think 7 points is way too much for the Panthers. I will be betting on that. I think 7 points, regardless of how this game goes, it's going to be a 7-point game. And that's my take. I'll let you talk now.
Yeah, no, I have the Panthers winning the game, and I have I don't know why I messed up by putting the Chargers there on the spread. I have the Panthers covering as well, just because I think it's going to be a close game. But,
I missed that.
Yeah, let me start by saying that I think this decision from Anthony Lynn to go back to Tyrod is about as bonehead of a move as you can make, and have fun looking for a new job in the offseason. I'm serious. I'll say it. You're going to lose your job because of this, because you had a flash from a kid who came out and wasn't really expected to do anything, like you said, so cold, and he went and played that well against the defending Super Bowl champs. This is a high-caliber defense.
Yeah. Herbert could have laid an egg. No one would have batted an eye. No one would have said, "Oh man, that sucks." Like no one would have said, "Oh, he's done. He sucks." Like nothing. It would have just been, he was in a bad situation.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to start your career.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the thing for me that gets it most is it's like, okay, I get Tyrod is your guy, and you had the health issue right before kickoff. So it's okay to say that we're going back to Tyrod. It is not okay to sit there in the press conference and say what you said about Herbert, though. Said that your game plan was limited because of Herbert. Said that you felt like there were a lot of things that he couldn't do, and he is a, quote, backup for a reason. Get out of here with that, man. That's ridiculous. He kept you in that game, and you had Tyrod struggling against the Bengals. Yes, I like Tyrod. He's decent. And I'm not saying you should just tote Herbert out there and just let him be the god right now. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that he needs to work on.
It should be a conversation, though. It should not just be shut down.
That's an internal thing. That is not something that you release in the media, and let the kid who know that he just threw for 300 against the defending champs, first game ever, that you're still a backup.
Yeah.
Have fun losing this week. Yes, there's a little bit of worry here because the Panthers are losing McCaffrey, and we're going to see a different offense, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think the Panthers got it.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll
like
move
you said,
on.
Demoralizing.
Yeah, it's just a demoralizing. It's not a game. Look, this is another game where I'll probably do a teaser bet on the Panthers. Get an extra 7 points. Panthers are going to keep it within 14. That feels pretty confident.
Yeah.
Jets, Colts. Colts are favored by 10.5 points. I'll take the Colts and the points all day.
And I'm smelling a lock.
Look, it's tough to lock 10.5. It is tough for me to lock 10.5.
It is tough.
Because this could just be the Colts control the game beginning to end. They run the ball out, and then the Jets get a throwaway touchdown at the end to make it a 9-point win. Something like that. Like, that could easily happen. I don't want to lock something like
That's
that.
Fair. I get
just
it.
because 10 points, and the Colts aren't like if this were the Chiefs, if this were the Ravens, for sure, lock it.
Well, because the Colts have had some weird, iffy weeks with the offense. I mean, the offense didn't look pretty last week. Phillip Rivers is honestly struggling.
Hasn't looked pretty yet.
Struggling with ball security, honestly. Losing Paris Campbell, I'm sure they'll be okay. They're going to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor a lot. Look for him to control the game. I don't know where the Jets are going to find your points. I'm pretty sure Jamison Crowder is still going to be out.
Hopefully he's in. I don't know.
Chris Hogan was kind of banged up too. I mean, there's a lot of different.
They lost Rashad Perryman, who got hurt. They kept Chris Herndon, who they've raved about all year.
But he has minimal use.
They kept him as a blocking tight end.
Yeah,
it was weird. Weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Ruined my DraftKings because I thought for sure it was like all these guys out. He's got to get fed, right?
I had him in a lot of leagues. I was confident. It's like that's the last time I play the Jets. Fuck it. I'm done on Jets team. Jamison Crowder is the only guy I believe in. When he's healthy, I'll play Jamison Crowder. Other than that, I'm not touching the Jets this year. But yeah, I think we agree. I think we're on the same page. We both hit the under. I think this is going to be a sloppy,
Colts don't have to do anything more than give it to Taylor.
24-10. That's kind of where I see it. So we'll move on.
Yeah, Cowboys, Seahawks. No, you're good. Dallas Cowboys, Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 5 points. The over-under is set at a huge line at 55.5, which these are two high-caliber offenses. We'll see them go. I have the Seahawks winning. I have the Cowboys covering, so a close game. And I do have the over. I think it's going to be exciting. I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are known to play close games. They always do for some reason.
Yeah.
But Russ is on the MVP tour right now.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, he's doing awesome.
You killed it with that. That was your prediction.
Yeah, that was I had him as MVP and I had them as Super Bowl champs. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about what the Seahawks are doing right now. We actually have a video that I did with Luke that's going to be coming out on the channel, just talking about the Seahawks game against the Patriots. So look out for that. I completely agree with you. Cowboys are just not showing up yet. I think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. I think this is very similar to the Cowboys Falcons or the Seahawks Falcons kind of game, where the Seahawks are going to control the game. The Seahawks are not going to take their foot off the gas, and they're just going to crush the Cowboys. I feel pretty confident in this 5-point game. I would lock it if you're interested.
I have the Cowboys covering.
Oh, you have the Cowboys covering. Oh, wow. Okay.
I have the Cowboys covering.
My bad. I missed that.
I think that with the Seattle secondary being beat up as it is, I know they're going to get Quandre Diggs back from that ejection and whatnot.
Gotcha.
They are beat
I don't
up,
blame you for that.
I think there's 3 wide receiver weapons for Dallas that if Dak is willing to let loose and if this team does it.
The on the paper, it still says that the Cowboys should be able to be a powerhouse and should be able to keep up with the Seahawks.
But we're
I
also
haven't seen it on the field.
At halftime, they were down how much to the Falcons?
Yeah, and everything they got in the second half was garbage time.
Exactly.
All right, so yeah, I agree with you. Let's move on to the Lions and the Cardinals.
Yep.
I think the Cardinals are going to beat the Lions. The 54.5 feels high to me as an over/under, but
are they going to be 3-0?
The Cardinals are going to be free.
They're about to be 3-0.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the Cardinals are a good football team, man. Like Kyler Murray's exciting, and I know like you're stepping as far away from that take as you can.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, but I mean, you should.
Yeah, I mean,
Kyler Murray is awesome, man. He is so much fun to watch. It's such an exciting football team to watch in general. With DeAndre Hopkins is just the piece they were missing. Yeah. Honestly, Kenyon Drake is looked a little bit slow and not as good as I was expecting coming into the season. They might need to make a switch to Chase Edmonds at some point, because Kenyon Drake just wasn't getting it done. I think he had 20 carries for like 60-something yards, just barely hit 60 yards. And it was a game script where he probably should have had over 100. So I'm a little nervous about Kenyon Drake, but that's more of a fantasy take than a this game take. Lions, man, I just have to see it to believe it at this point. Lions have they've given up a sure-handed win in week 1, and then they just got crushed by the
They opened up 14-3 on the Packers. I thought something was up for a second.
Look, the Lions always have a great first half, man. They always have a great first half, and they might have a great first half this week, but they're going to drop the ball in the second half. They've done it for 2 years.
The game in the fourth,
they've done it for 2 years, and I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. I think this is another situation where whatever Matt Patricia's doing, that is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong, but it might just be a coach time to move on, because you look at a team that is constantly in the lead at halftime, or has a lead at some point and then just gives it up. I got to point to coaching. I don't know what the issue is. I'm sure there's some statistical analysis that you could give me that explains this problem, this issue. I don't know what it is, but at this point, I'm out on Patricia. I'm out on the Lions until they prove they can win in the fourth quarter.
Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. Don't get me wrong. They will find a way to lose in the fourth quarter. I have the Cardinals winning. I do have the Lions covering, though. I kind of
5.5 could happen. Yeah.
I kind of see this one being a shootout. Stafford hasn't let loose yet. He really hasn't. He's been held to 2 touchdowns, right around 300 yards in week 1 and 2. He's always good for one game where he just goes off. I think Stafford is a better quarterback here in this game, and I know Kyler is great. Kyler's really good.
Not for fantasy, but for actual talent on the field.
I'm saying,
right?
yeah, fantasy-wise, it's Kyler all the way.
Yeah.
Kyler's going to get you in the upwards of 30-point range
just
because of the way that he runs the read option and stuff like that.
Yeah, the rushing
I'm saying
yards.
real-life quarterback play. I genuinely admire Matt Stafford.
Yeah, Matt Stafford is an awesome quarterback.
I have for a long time. And
nothing wrong with saying that.
Matt Stafford is, he's qualified enough to be able to keep you in this game against the Cardinals' lack of defense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I do disagree, but
Lions can stay.
Look, we disagree on a good bit of cover, so that's going to be fun to watch, see who wins that battle, because it's going to be pretty close in the no matter who wins, the picks are going to be close no matter what.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to the Bucks and the Broncos. We do not disagree on this.
This is a lock.
This has to be a lock, right? The Broncos, they're fielding Jeff Driscoll, who's the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
I looked at you right away.
I couldn't.
I looked at you right away.
They're fielding Jeff Driscoll, who, we don't know what we're going to get from him. We don't know what we're going to get from this Broncos offense at this point. They... Shut the fuck up. You talk about him then.
No,
I don't know what you want me to say.
I'm not going to talk about the Broncos. I'm going to talk about the damn GOAT running the ball, throwing the ball everywhere. I mean, the Bucks are going to
run the ball.
I'm saying with Leonard Fournette had a breakout game last week.
He did, yeah.
It was really good. They're able to run the ball, and then if you're able to establish the run, it only makes Brady better with the weapons.
Oh, and they did that without Chris Godwin? Okay.
I know.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're only going to get him back.
Yep.
And yeah, they're going to take care of this team.
Should be a win.
No problem at all.
Agreed.
Should be a win. It is a win.
This is a win. We'll lock this. I agree.
We disagree on the over-under.
Yeah, well...
I think you're giving Jeff Driscoll some points here.
I am, yeah. I think the Broncos will score 14 to 18 points.
Yeah, 14 at the ceiling, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll give them 20 at the ceiling. Wow, fucker. All right, we'll lock that. We think the Bucks win. Bucks will cover 6 points.
Yeah, let's get to one of the most exciting games of the week.
This will be fun.
The Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints.
These last two games are going to be fun.
It's going to Sunday night, Monday night is going to hit, and it's
must
awesome.
watch TV.
And we disagree on both of the best games of the week, which is always some of the exciting things to do.
Yeah.
I have the Packers winning this game. I think the Packers are playing lights out. They have shown week 1 Aaron Rodgers can do the thing. Week 2 Aaron Jones can do the thing.
Yeah.
And they're going to win no matter what. I think the Saints are really struggling. I think Michael Thomas isn't going to be ready, and if he is, 80% Michael Thomas isn't enough to get the job done right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I'm taking the Saints here. I think the Saints...
How do they do it, though?
Look, first of all, Michael Thomas might be back. He tried to get back this week, so I'm not convinced that Michael... That's what sucks about making these picks on a Tuesday.
He is 80%, though.
Yeah, okay, so fair enough. Either way, you're not getting the full Michael Thomas. Look, the Saints were a good football team, and if they come out in the second half and they perform a little bit better, they probably win that game, which is a pretty easy thing to say, so maybe that's not a fair statement. Yeah, I'm ready for a Packers down game. I am.
Okay.
I'm not believing that this Packers team is for real yet. I don't know what it is. I'm not sold. I'm just not. I want to see. I think the Saints are a Super Bowl contending football team, and I don't think the Packers are. I think the Saints are getting 3 points, so I think this is a coin flip game either way. I'll put it that way. I'm taking the Saints to win at home, but that could go either way. So I'm not gonna hitch my wagon to that. I do think that I will take, if in a coin flip game, I'll take the points. So I'll take the Saints with the points at home. That's kind of where I stand by. I get what you're saying. Packers could absolutely win this game. Packers have been awesome the past 2 weeks. They do it against the Saints, I will believe. I will be a full-on believer. Like I said last week a lot of times, this is a huge litmus test for both teams. Was the Saints loss early? Like the Saints have not gone 2-0 in the past 5 or 6 seasons, and they've been really good the past couple of years. So it just makes sense. They've lost early a lot. I feel like last year they lost week 1 to a team they shouldn't have lost to. This year, obviously, they lose
and then the storyline started with, is Drew Brees done, which is what we heard after the Monday night game.
Yeah, exactly. So, Drew Brees looked fine. This Saints team is going to bounce back. I have a hard time believing they're going to lose 2 games in prime time back-to-back weeks. So, maybe that's a little bit, bad, kind of a bad take and a bad reason to take the Saints. But yeah, I'm taking the Saints. I think the Saints win this game. In a coin flip game, could go either way.
I could see it, but the reason I was smiling is because I know this next conversation with the Chiefs and the Ravens on Monday Night Football. We disagree as much as you can disagree. The Ravens are a 3-point favorite. The over/under is set at 53.5. I have the under. I have the Ravens, and I have the Ravens on the spread. You have the
Ravens
more
covering 3
probable.
points. Yeah.
You have the more probable storyline here in the over, of course, with it being an offensive shootout. The Chiefs and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Man, I think you're crazy. I do.
You think I'm crazy?
Specifically for the over/under. I don't see how this game isn't a shootout. That's the part where I'm not seeing because look, the Ravens could win this game. I'm not going to sit here and say you're crazy for saying the second best team in the AFC beats the best team in the AFC. Like that could go either way. Yeah. The Ravens are awesome. I'm not looking at the Chiefs and saying what we saw from the Chiefs last week is what we're going to see year long. I think what this was, I think the Chiefs struggled against the Chargers. Absolutely. I think it was one of those situations where they were looking to week 3, thinking about the Ravens, and maybe you just lost sight of their goal. We both know the Chiefs are much better than the Chargers.
They are.
So I'm not taking last week into account. I'm looking at what this Chiefs team is. Patrick Mahomes, hasn't looked awesome. He's looked fine. He's looked really good for an NFL quarterbaip.
Yeah, he's on a different standard.
He hasn't looked really good for what we've seen from Patrick Mahomes the past 2 seasons. That's what I will say. But they've hidden that pretty well just because of great play calling and scheme and all that plays into his hand a little bit. And then of course last week, the fourth in overtime was just awesome. That's just vintage Patrick Mahomes, just fun to watch. But yeah, I think the Chiefs get back on track. I think we're going to see a Chiefs football team that is fired up, high powered, tough to beat, and they're gonna make a few more plays than the Ravens do. And look, the Ravens could win this game. This might be one of those situations where the Ravens schematically are just built better than the Chiefs, and they're able to win in a kind of like I guess what you're saying, because you think it's going to be low scoring, so you think it's going to be kind of a grudge match a little bit.
I think it's going to be slow at first. I think it's one of those things where it is so hyped up, and the obvious choice is to take the over, and we have seen it in the past where it's like, oh my God, these offenses come out just throwing bows.
Yeah.
Chiefs-Texans week 1. It was really slow at first.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, I could see this going into halftime at a 14-10, and it's like, okay, I mean, you're on the way, and you really need to see a team kind of take off in the second half. And it could. Pat Mahomes plays great when the lights are brightest. We've known, and the Lamar Jackson is going to be able to do what he does. I think the Ravens' defense might be the difference maker in this game. And
that's a fair point.
Yeah, that's one of the main
they're
reasons.
Probably the better. They're probably better defense.
Their corners are great. Their linebackers are fast, and their defensive line. I mean, you have Calais Campbell as your third best one. And that's a 6'8" grown ass man as your.
That's crazy.
Get ready.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm not going to hate on you for saying the Ravens are going to win. I was surprised that you were surprised, because right before we got on, you were shocked. I think you were a little bit surprised that I took the Chiefs.
No. I was excited because it was we get
you
the
knew
conversation.
we were going to get a good one.
Little tidbit as to why I really chose this game too is because a lot of times when I think we will see this matchup in the championship game. I think that's what and I think the Chiefs will take it.
Oh, I see.
And a lot of times Andy Reid is a damn genius. You fool him once, you okay? You ain't getting him twice.
I see what you're saying.
That's why I did it.
You're going long game. You're like, if the Chiefs Ravens play in the AFC Championship,
can't lose. Yeah,
Chiefs are winning in the playoffs, so Chiefs have to lose here. I see what you're doing.
I'm sorry
you're
for
playing
doing that.
You're playing the long game. I got you.
Mind game.
No, you're outthinking me there. That's smart.
I think Lamar might come out and do a really good thing, and then by the time it gets to the playoffs, Andy Reid's I saw you. I got you now. Yep.
That's great. All right, guys. Hey, that's our picks. Look, if you've bet with us the past 2 weeks on our locks, you made some money. All right. So our locks this week, we're taking a little bit of the Texans and the Steelers. We're taking the Steelers to crush the Texans, cover a 3.5 point spread. We're taking the 49ers to cover a 4.5 point spread against the Giants, and we are taking the Bucks to beat the Broncos by at least a touchdown on a 6 point spread. I feel pretty good about those. We had 5 locks last week, and that's more than we really wanted to have, but we just like those games. Got a little unlucky on 2 of them. I think we kind of learned our lesson with picking maybe too high over-unders, and a garbage time touchdown
like you
throws
said,
that away.
10 point or anything above 7.5 is really hard to touch.
Yeah, exactly. So, but even we're taking 6 here with the Bucks. We feel pretty okay without that.
Due to the injuries.
Exactly. The injuries are a huge factor here. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Anything else to say?
We'll get to see some college football.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk college.
No, we don't have to talk college.
We'll mention it, yeah.
SEC opens up play. We've seen a lot of stuff going on already. The Big Ten is getting ready to get their thing going. I'm really excited for that. Mm-hmm. Let's see it happen. SEC football coming.
It's going to be fun. The Noles have to go play Miami in prime time.
Your coach got COVID.
Yeah.
As I made on Twitter the joke, that's the only positive thing to come out of y'all's season so far.
Oh, God.
It's bad, bro.
Look, I don't even think the coach is going to be the big deal. I think the talent on the field is going to be a huge issue.
Give him some time and let him get it.
And who do we have to play? Who's the quarterback we have to play?
Derek King.
Derek King, who's been balling.
Derek King is going to hang.
You heard it here first, by the way. If you listen to our ACC breakdown, Jacob told you about Derek King.
Dog. I'm telling you, get ready. For Auburn, let me go ahead and shield myself because y'all are going to be coming at me. I'm worried about Kentucky.
Are you?
I'll say it. I don't like being able to have some week 1 jitters against a team with Kentucky and a quarterback like Terry Wilson who is healthy.
Yeah.
Terry Wilson can keep you in the game, and it's one of those things where we're going to need Bo Nix to step up, and we're going to see how far he can take us. If we drop to Kentucky, expect a 5-5 season, and I'm going to be crying.
Yeah, it feels like college football is actually finally starting because the SEC is back.
Well, I know. We haven't talked college too much, and it's like, well, Trevor Lawrence has won. He's done his thing. I mean, what else is there to go over?
We don't have a whole lot. You want me to talk about my Noles losing to Georgia Tech? No, you don't want to hear about that.
We saw a great game in Miami and Louisville go at it. That was really
that was a fun one. I mean,
there
just hasn't been enough. It just hasn't been enough.
We're so loaded with this.
Yeah.
Too.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.
War Eagle.